Hola y bienvenidos a esta presentación del subjuntivo. This video is going to talk about how to conjugate verbs into the present tense subjunctive. Not use the subjunctive just yet, but just conjugating. There's 3 steps to conjugate verbs into the present tense subjunctive. The first step is to take off the yo form. If you've studied how to form commands, it should look familiar. The second step is to take off the o. And we did not just take off the AR, ER, and IR, because if you notice with a verb like salir that has an irregular yo form, that wouldn't have worked. And then we're going to add the opposite endings. So the opposite endings for AR verbs are es, hemos, and en. And the opposite endings for ER and IR verbs are a, as, amos, and an. If you notice, the first person singular and third person singular are the same. So the yo form and the él, ella, usted form are the same exact conjugations. With the subjunctive, you can't simply say the yo form. You need to have the yo in front of it in order to be clear. There are irregulars, and these are the same irregulars as the commands. These verbs do not have an O in the yo form. Voy, estoy, soy, doy, and se. Since they don't end in an O, we can't follow the steps to drop the O, so these just need to be memorized. Car-gar-zar are also irregular. If a verb ends in C-A-R, we need to change it to a Q-U-E ending. If not, we would be pronouncing toses, but we want to keep the sound of the original, of the infinitive rather, which is a K sound, a hard C, so we want toques, toque, toquemos. To keep the hard G sound in jugar, or any verb that ends in G-A-R, we need to make it a G-U-E ending. And a Z is going to change to a C in front of an E, and since this is Z-A-R, we'll be adding E endings, so these become C-E-C-E-S. So the one tricky thing is stem changing verbs. Present tense, AR and ER stem changing verbs have a stem change except in the nosotros form. Pensar, for example, is a stem changing verb, and it is an AR verb, so the nosotros form does not have the stem change, but the others do. The stem change being an E to an IE. Volver is an O to UE stem changing verb, and it's an ER, so that means it does not change in the nosotros form, but it picks up a UE in the others. IR verbs that are stem changers in the present tense are a little bit more complicated. They have a change in every single form, but it's not the same change. So E to I verbs, pedir, change to an I in all forms. O to UE, change to a UE, because the yo form is duermo, in these forms, and in nosotros it has a change, but it's not the same change, it's just a U. Durmamos is the present sense subjunctive of dormir. And finally, an E to IE stem changer that ends in an IR, like preferir, is the same as dormir, where it changes inside the boot, and in the nosotros form, it only changes to an I. So there is a change, IE here, and only an I here. Don't forget that if there's ever 2 E's in the stem of a stem changing verb, it's always a second E that changes. Practiquemos. Please pause the video if you'd like to practice the following examples. These all start with mi padre quiere que, my dad wants. Since my dad is trying to influence other people, we need the subjunctive in the second part of the sentence. We go is vayamos. They have tengan. I am. Sea. My mom begins. Empiece. You informal study. The to form would be estudies. The girls write. Las chicas escriban. My brothers and I give. Demos. I take a shower. Me duche. The reflexive verb still goes before the the reflexive pronoun still goes before the conjugated verb, even in the subjunctive. The teacher arrives. Llegue. This is a GUE, a GAR verb. Practicar is a CAR verb. The athlete practices. La atleta practique. And finally, we sleep. Durmamos. The stem change is only a U, not a UE. Gracias por ver este video y te deseo mucho éxito.